This is episode 371 of the Fun with the Maryland STEM Festival podcast, Researching Wildfires. This episode was recorded on October 19th, 2021. Hello, welcome to an episode of the Fun with the Maryland STEM Festival podcast. I'm your host, Phil Rogofsky, director of the Maryland STEM Festival. Today I'm talking to Eric Link. How are you today, Eric?
I'm doing well, thanks. How are you?
I'm doing well myself. Please tell us about your current position.
I am a research engineer at the National Institute of Standards and Technology, also known as NIST, and I'm focused in the wildland-urban interface fire research.
We'd like to hear about what type of research you're doing and how you do it.
Our group is focused on how to understand how wildfires approach communities, how they impact communities, particularly the built structures like single-family homes. So we do various projects in the field for data collection from after fires to see how structures survived, how firefighters were able to save them, how the building materials may have performed to see where structures are vulnerable. A lot of what we learn from those field studies we bring back to the lab, and we can do many experiments anywhere from small mulch piles, which are hazardous when they burn, up to small structures even, to see how they burn and what the fire response is for certain materials and their fire resistance.
How long have you been with NIST?
I've been with NIST for 4 years now.
How much time do you spend in the field? Have you been to any of the major recent fires?
Yeah, it comes in different waves. We do some field work and then come back and do some lab work. Most recently, we were in the field after the Camp Fire in 2018 in Northern California, which was very destructive in Butte County and the town of Paradise and the surroundings there. And so we were in the field on and off for about a year doing our data collection. And since then, we've been doing some report writing and data analysis to get what we've learned out to the communities, to the firefighters, and the other first responders who use this information in their daily work. And then lab time comes after that. And it comes and goes whether you're at the computer or in the lab or in the field.
What type of equipment do you have in the lab? Do you have any special equipment, or is it just test tubes and Bunsen burners?
We have various different sizes of labs. And so Bunsen burners are certainly one of our smaller instruments. Things in the lab like thermocouples, which is a way to measure temperature, heat flux gauges, which measure the amount of heat energy radiating or convecting from flames. We have larger measurement devices like a large fume hood, which collects all of the burned gases from anything that we're burning. There's small ones, just a couple inches in diameter, and then one of the largest hoods that we have is several meters in diameter. We do large fires in that lab.
Do you do all of your data collection when the fire is completely out, or do you do some data collection while the fire is still burning?
We do our field collection after the area is safe enough for entry by our data collection teams. There's no active fire when we're doing our data collection. When we were at the campfire, we were there soon after the ignition, about a week after the fire started, because the fire burned into the wildlands for several weeks. After that, there were still active areas of the fire, but we were not in those areas.
What attracted you to this area of study?
Just in general, the engineering and math background and physics was interesting to me growing up. And so I thought I wanted to do science or engineering. Heard about the fire protection engineering degree program at the University of Maryland, was just interested in the concept of fire, and it's a unique field opportunity. And so I followed that path, and it's been successful so far.
What did you like about the program at Maryland?
I like that it's very broad in terms of what they can teach you relating to fire. Fire protection engineering goes from very basic chemistry and physics of how fires burn all the way to structural design. We had a course on evacuations, and then the community is tight-knit. It's a smaller program. It's one of the only programs in the country. And so the department had a small family feel to it, and that was attractive as well.
How big is the program at NIST?
At NIST in fire research, I think we have about 60 to 70 people total, including administrative staff and the technical staff, the technicians, and everything. And then in the WUI group, Wildland Urban Interface Fire, there's about a dozen total.
Where did you grow up?
I grew up outside of Annapolis. I'm a native Marylander.
And my last question, were there any firefighters in your family?
there were no firefighters in my family.
So you came on to this interest naturally.
Yeah, I would say so. There are engineers in my family and scientists in my family, so that was certainly a contributing factor.
Well, thank you very much for taking time to talk to me today, Eric.
All right, it was a pleasure, Phil. Thank you.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Fun with the Maryland STEM Festival podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, please rate it and leave your comments wherever you got this podcast. That helps us get more listeners. Tell everyone you know to listen to this podcast. Have a stimulating day.